Yeah, welcome everybody to our last Yogi Lunch this year. We are planning on some new projects. So our 12th Yogi Lunch is the last one for now. And today our first guest is Gagan. So let's see how we can invite Gagan. Hi Niranjan. Niranjan is also here. So let me see. Satkata. Yes, so I will invite Gagan, or Gagan, you have to try and join and send me an invitation. Otherwise, I will, because I can see her first. Okay. Yeah, so it's not that easy, but it's possible. So I hope I'm right. Hi, Gagan.
You can see me. Okay, cool.
Yes, I can
How are
see you.
you?
So I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing good. This is exciting.
That's cool. So I was thinking I will do this. Oh, sure. You can join later, Niranjan. That's nice of you. Yeah, I was thinking to do this Yogi Lunch because at the moment, this month, in our Sounds of Life project, we are working with Rag Maru. And Maru is very close to my heart because it's the mood of a warrior. And as you know, my name Veer also means warrior. And I don't know, the past days I was thinking what it really means to me. And I found out, or this sentence popped up in my brain, that I'm the happiest person when I have something I can fight for. I don't know why, and I'm very sure not everybody is like me. But I just know that this is my mood because it just makes me so very happy when I have something where I know if I fight for it, that something amazing will come out. So, of course, I invited you to join.
I love that because yes, your name means it, and every time I say Veer, I like that passion. Like I think you definitely embody the warrior spirit, and it very much is you because you have this very passion, but you do it in a way is, and maybe we can speak about this a bit later about, you know, like that fighter. We say normally you say a warrior. We say we kind of think of it as a very like a different outer. You've got to be strong. You've got to be robust, and as opposed to, you know what. And I'll be thinking about what does Maru mean? What does that warrior mean for me? And I feel like it's more like I want to meet the warrior inside me as opposed to being this outside figure that we see. But I love working with you. I love connecting with you because you give me that spirit. You give me that energy. So yes.
Yeah, and I also want to say, like, when you hear the word fight or fighting or warrior, maybe you will think like, oh, it's not good to fight. But of course, we are doing the positive fight, right?
Yes, yes. I think that's important because when I actually saw the poster and it was written fighter, and then I was like, okay, how do I take that word? Because fight, it obviously has that negative side of it. And we feel like, no, like I'm not a fighter, but we associate ourselves with, if we want to be a warrior, we say, yes, that's like the positive kind of look to it. And we always want to strive to this higher space of ourselves. So I think words, yeah.
And if we think of the Nat yoga, of course, we also think of healing. We want to be in balance. We want to get to know our emotions. But for me, it has a lot to do with fighting because we can live like a normal life and just go to work and come home and do some sports and meet some friends. Or we fight for
Okay, yes.
Something bigger.
Yes.
So that would be like my first question.
I like that.
For you, like, why are you in this? Like, I don't know. Somehow I see this little warrior in all of us, in all those who look for more, right?
Yes.
And I don't know. It's for me, it's a special energy. I don't know. I just like it, and I also see it in you. But when did you discover the little warrior in yourself? Can you share that a bit?
I like everyone else to also hi to everybody who's watching, and please do share as well in the comments so we can engage. But I feel like it's changing. Like from when you said about the fighter, and I so understand what you're saying. But for me, I felt like I was already in this clashing. I was already, this internal fight was already going on, and I was like, I want to own this space. Like, I don't want to be bashing. I don't want to be having a fight inside, the internal conflict where you want to do something different, but your day is turning out different. You want to show up differently, but it doesn't work out. Like, how do you find that space where you can stand above this and be like, okay, how can I take the decisions, what I need to do, and in the right way possible that's going to serve me? So I feel like the warrior definitely kind of spoke at that space, but I am kind of changing it now because I'm feeling like warrior at this moment, just for me now, at this moment, it feels like I have to carry an armor, and I'm not sure if I'm willing to do that. And that's why I said, meet the warrior within me, something that is true to you, something that you are fearlessly willing to stand up for. And I feel that that's different. And I'm seeing these differences just for myself. I'm not sure if everyone else sees it, where you have to feel like, okay, I'm going for a bad day, and I feel like I have to put on a brave face. And I feel like that is some sort of, you know what, you're taking that strength from the warrior side of it, but can you do it from the inside where you feel like, I'm true to myself and I don't have to fake it, because this is where my truth lies, and this is where I can be a higher purpose for myself. So there's these two things happening at the moment I'm observing.
I think you mentioned this inner fight, and I think we all know moments, even in a day, where there is an inner fight happening inside, right?
Yes.
I mean, it can be something small, like where we think like, shall I go out, or is it too rainy or too cold? But inside, I know the best thing right now is going out for a walk and get some fresh air and get your thoughts clear. And this little inner fight. But I think the moment you decide to sit with yourself and that inner fight and to get somewhere, this is where I see already this energy of Maru, which I like it. I kind of need that challenge in my life. I don't know why. I just like it.
I think it makes you feel more alive. It definitely puts you into purpose. And I see, like, it is inspiring me, because for me it's like, I'd rather run the other way. But you need that kind of holding, that grounding. So it's nice to see that, yes, it can be very passionate, and you can do it in a very authentic way, and it can lead you to a nice space. And I feel like that's what we do with the Naj Yoga. It is taking us through that, you know, we are passionate about how we show up in the world, and that's doing it through emotional well-being. Ooh, we have somebody joining.
Yes, I invited, I think Meha is here with us. We don't see you yet, but maybe you can change your camera. Then we can say hi.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Meha.
Hi, Meha.
Hi.
I don't know if you can change something with your camera, maybe change the direction. Anyways, it's nice to have you here, Meha. And maybe you were listening. So I would like to ask you if you also know those inner fights, and if you yourself also take that challenge of inner fights to face them, because this is where we need the Maru energy, right? Yes, so. Yeah, we can hear you. The only thing is we can't see you.
Oh,
but
okay, that's good. That's good. So I can talk. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I mean, yes, absolutely. Because like even being with you on Instagram today was quite a you know a you know I'm actually in the process of looking into that account, and I was uploading a picture at the moment. You know, when you invited me in, and I just discovered, for example, that. My daughter was extremely fluent in Instagram, and it was like a wow. I just discovered these you know, when I get sometimes you get asked as a parent, would you allow, you know, she takes care in something at school or in the local town, you know, you have to allow for that picture to be taken and to be made public. And you know, I always kind of and ah about it, and then I kind of weigh carefully, should I not? What if I don't? What will happen? And there I just discovered, like over lunch, like half an hour ago, that well, she is fully on Instagram and she just knows all about it. But she did not want to stay with me here because I thought, well, you should stay, so you know, in case I don't manage the technology like I'm doing it at the moment, right? You can't see me. That you know, you help me out of this. And then, well, she's gone. She's not here. But so this is like a challenge, you know, being like voicing how you feel and thinking too much about it, like overthinking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, just doing it, right? Like people will also, like friends of mine, I will tell them, okay, I'm on a live, and they're like, wow, I would never do that. And I feel like, why not? I mean, others are doing it, and we are sharing things we are passionate about. And I don't know. And of course, first time is always a bigger challenge than second time. And yeah, Mia, so I'm happy that you're also with us today and that you took the courage. And yeah, can you maybe think of anything in your life where you feel, oh, with this one, there are no compromises. This is just what I do and what I think and what I stand for. Do you have any example in your own life?
In my own life, really about the atmosphere of Maru. I think what is really really important is to choose your fights. You know, choose what you stand for. Like situations where you fight within or outside, we all have them. And like one of my strong inner beliefs is in nature and being aware of what we do, and in every aspect of our life. And one of them, for example, is you know, our body, or how we look after ourselves. And it is very common practice that when we go and see a doctor, they will give you you know, they will kind of take that, because they have the knowledge, you know, because they're trained doctors, they will take decisions for you, and they will assume things about you, like, for example, you don't want to feel pain, and they will automatically put you under anesthesia or things like that. And it is very difficult when you find yourself against a system, or when you say, okay, I would like to be connected with my body, because I, as a yogi, understand that the body is the shadow of my mind. So if I'm talking to my mind, and, you know, within the Nad Yoga perspective, I'm reaching out to establish that unity in myself and to really be fully in that connection with myself. Then if I disconnect my body, then I'm cheating my mind. And so, for example, I was in a situation where I needed to have a a tooth removed, like one of the what I call the wisdom teeth removed. And this is like automatically, you know, not only they will give you anesthesia, I mean, that was in the States, and but they will also automatically remove all of them, like on both sides, and you know, you can completely, you know, they can empty your mouth from them. And so yeah, I went to one center that said, no, you have to have it, and another one said, oh well, you know. So eventually I got a note, I got my dentist to support me and write a special note, and I did go through that procedure without it, because somebody decided that they could trust me, you know, that it will still be all right. I'm not going to move in the wrong moment, and they're going to still be doing, you know, they'll be able to retrieve it. And I really tempered myself in Maru at that moment, and this is how I, like my stamp of Maru is on there. But I see it also in many other occasions as well.
Yeah, I think with doctors or any situations where other people take decisions or want to take decisions for you can really put you in this mood, because yeah, I think for situations like this, it's important to be prepared. I mean, if you're still conscious, that you know what you want and what you definitely and for sure don't want, so that you can then also communicate it. I don't know, Gagan, if you were ever in a situation like this, where somebody told you their viewpoint, where they thought this is right, and then you knew automatically in that moment, no, I'm definitely going another way.
No, nothing comes to mind at the moment, but I definitely can see that where you need to have, I feel like once you have your own research done, and you listen to your own intuition, I feel like when you listen to your gut instinct, that guides you better, because then you know you and your mind and your body are on the same page, because otherwise you're just going to be split across, like Mary is saying, and we're not happy with the decision someone else is taking for us, and that doesn't make us feel good, and we just put ourselves in a worse situation actually, and then we just carry that hurt because we didn't feel like we could voice our opinion. Yeah.
Meha, I think you are, you have a teenage daughter, right?
Yes.
So I was just thinking that when I remember my teenage years, this was the time where I was thinking a lot about what is right for me and what is not right for me. So I don't know if you have conversations like that with your daughter, and if you like to share some views on that, because I don't have children, but I work with teenagers, and I feel this is the time where you think about that one a lot, like what do I want and what do I not want. And yeah.
Yes, of course, we have conversations, and I understand, and I mean, you always, as a parent, you want to, you know, give them what you've learned, but I see how they need their own freedom to establish themselves and to make their own decisions and to gain their own confidence. And so, in a way, I was utterly gobsmacked, really, when my daughter was telling me all these things about Instagram and how she has followers and she's posting stuff, and I didn't have a clue about it. Well, I kind of knew, but I didn't know exactly specifically. But I also see how she's gained confidence in how she's been actually faced, in, you know, how she's managed situations herself, and she's learning from her own experience. And this is what's really valuable. And honestly, what we know, the only gap that there could be is like the fact that when we grew up, we were that age, we had a different environment around us. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, technology and the freedom of speech, expression, and so forth, very, very different level. And I asked her, okay, you have friends, maybe people you don't even know where they are, And why, for example, haven't we met our neighbors next door? You know, there are two teenage boys next door, and we haven't even, I mean, yes, the parents kind of say hi, but we haven't met them. And that doesn't bother her, you know. It's like, well, why do I have to? So I'm really looking like into the whole. It's challenging for me. It's making me grow as well, because yeah, it's a different reality, and it's like, okay, is it like walking on the street, or is it like in a very, very big town, but even if it's like in the middle of like the center of the most, you know, central time that could be in like a really big city, it still is an instant, it's like in one moment of your life. But when you are in that image world of social media, and everything remains there forever and ever, while we people evolve, what does that mean? How can you grasp in like one instant that whole eternity of your life? So yes, we do have conversations, and they are definitely both ways. I am learning immensely from her.
I can imagine.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Gagan, what are you thinking?
No, I feel like this is wonderful. And I feel like also what was coming to mind when you said about like the teenage years as well, because I wanted to ask about like when we're in this maru, do you feel like it is kind of connected to when we're choosing our stand, is connected to our values? What do you think?
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like in a way, yeah, like if I'm taking a stand for something, then it's very much me because of I believe in a certain thing. I believe in a certain concept, or I believe in a certain attribute or a factor that I feel like this is how I should show up, and this is how I should be, and this is what I stand for. So in a way, I feel like it is linked to your values, and as you're growing up, you are in a way kind of building those in yourself, like you're exploring, you're testing out what is important to me, what isn't important to me as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was also thinking about the values. So I think this is a time where, of course, as a child, you maybe take the values from your parents, but as a teenager, for sure, you decide, do I really like those values I've been taught, or do I change them? Do I find better ones? And yeah, I think we constantly rethink about our values, right? When something happens, we think, oh, was it the right thing I was thinking, or do I have to change it? But I think there are also some values which we will like never change.
Yes.
Where we are like very, very clear. And yeah, so thank you, Mehar, for joining us. I think if you can try and end the conversation, we can invite other people, because I think we can only be 3 in one. I don't know. Let me see.
Oh.
Now we see you, Mehar. Now it's working. Harpreet is also joining, so you can stay. That's cool.
Should we go portrait, Lee?
Okay. So now
we can change portrait. Yes.
Now we are joining the US with the UK. And Meha, where are you at the moment? I think in France, right?
Yes, I am.
And Germany is on one screen. Isn't that cool? Harpreet, welcome. What are your thoughts?
Satkartar, everybody. Thank you for having this talk. So my thoughts are that the warrior has to be very aware of the surroundings, and I think that level of awareness is something that we evolve into based on our experiences. And then when we finally find something to fight for, so the warrior, at least my warrior has a defensive mechanism, but also a proactive offensive mechanism. And to really be able to calculate when either system needs to be used and then where we need to rest in between. That's because the warrior can't always be on the offensive or on the defensive. It's very exhausting. I think everybody's experienced that exhaustion, be it the internal dialogue that we're having with ourselves, fighting against some of the things that we want to change about ourselves, and then also trying to change the external environment in our favor. So when I think of Rag Maru and the experiences that I've had, I've evolved into being very outspoken about if someone is attacking someone's faith or someone's original self. So maybe a female, from a male's perspective, like a male is attacking a female, or a female is attacking another female, or even a female is attacking a male, right? I think we're all guilty of using blanket statements about each other, either from a gender perspective or from a faith perspective. And really considering it from a place of fairness and a place of justice is something that we don't automatically default to. And the true warrior, based on the faith that I've evolved into, is becoming aware of when that justice needs to be had and what the consequences are. Mm-hmm. And Gagan, I've been watching your stories throughout the week, and one of the questions you posed is like, what stops you from pursuing that feeling of Rag Maru? What is it? Mm-hmm. And I thought about it, and it was our calculation of consequences. When we calculate, oh, we're going to lose that relationship, or we're going to feel really bad that we said that to that person because they feel hurt, or whatever the consequences might be, or I lost a lot of money, or whatever it might be, right? I think when we're in the pursuit of truth, the consequences are left to the divine. The consequences are already written in, and you already kind of know what the consequences might be. But if you're pursuing truth, that's going to be the best outcome. Mm-hmm. And that's where the trust is. And I think the warrior needs to be trusting of their own intuition, like you were all saying today earlier, that the intuition is where the truth comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we know our truth. And can we just like turn the screen so that we're all like the way I am? Because Niranjan said that will help later. Thank you. Harpreet, what I wanted to say is, I think we know our truth. Now I see you upside down. That's also interesting. It would change my perspective. But to then, when you know your truth, and then go for it, I think this is what makes the warrior. That you know your truth, and then you are ready for a change, or you can stand for it, or you can say it out loud. And I think that's special, because not everybody finds that strength within and finds that right moment to take such a step. Mm-hmm. And I know you are in year 1 for the Nat Yoga teacher training with Yogi. And I also joined the program as an assistant teacher, so I know you a little bit. And I wanted to know from you, where did you find that strength within when you took that decision to go for the Nat Yoga teacher training? because I feel it is a big step to do. And it is a big step towards your own emotional care. Like you care for yourself through that step. Yeah, maybe you like to share that a bit.
I think from a cultural experience, Sikhi was something that was hard to access from a language perspective, but also from a like just not having a community to always go to all the time, right? And when I came across the rags, and I came across, because I was always a person that would find meaning or try to find meaning and try to engage in dialogue with one-off like my brother or other members of the Sangat. But it wasn't a conscious effort. And my heart, when you say we know our truth, my truth was that I need a stable process to engage with the faith that I was born into the Gurbani that I hear on a regular basis. There has to, and that has to come from me. Nobody's going to say, here, have this program. I'll pay for it, or I will make you come to this every week or every month, right? And that Rag Madhu came in saying, okay, now I need to fight for this feeling of wanting to be closer to something that's always been in my life. And I've always channeled in different ways, either through when I was going through grad school or whatever, right? And I think I joined the teacher training program because it came from, it was brought to me from an aspect of sharing knowledge and sharing how we can live our best life. And that's the buzzword that I was hearing for the past 2 years. Live your best life. Like that, what does that mean? I don't even get that, right? Your best life is literally, at least in my opinion, is how you choose to show up. And I think through the NOD teacher training program, at least through some of even the conversations, Veer, through your own programs that you've run also, of featuring certain rags throughout the month, or one rag each month, it's implementing that immediately, as soon as I wake up, right? And identifying that strength that we've always had. But at the end of the day, that's the reason why I had joined the teacher training, because it gave me access to not only something that I was always yearning for, but also an opportunity to share it forward as a teacher. And the truth is that I do function well as a teacher, but in a different capacity. And this was another challenge. Can I learn something completely new? Can I learn something completely new and then teach it? And then can I teach it and then implement it in my own life? Right? A warrior doesn't just learn the skills and just sits there, but rather they use it in their own sadhana, and they also use it in to affect change in their environment.
Okay, thank you, Harpreet.
Thank you. Yes.
That's cool. Gagan, what do you think?
I feel, okay, there's so many things, because there was some, we touched upon quite a few things, and I feel like what Harpreet was saying in the beginning, where she said about, you know, you've got to be conscious, and I feel like the warrior is conscious, because you can't just be that fighter, you know, how we were speaking about the terms at the beginning, that I feel like the warrior is conscious person, because you're not just thinking about, I need to be this, I need to be in Rag Maru, and that's it. You are very conscious about your actions and what you stand for and what you're going to do. But I feel like the people who can't be in Rag Maru is maybe because, like what Harpreet was saying, that you maybe are fearful what the results are. You may be fearful who's going to say what, how you're going to be perceived. But when you're in Maru, I don't think you are thinking too much that, oh, I'm going to be crossing a line here with this relationship. Yes, you know you're going to be crossing a line, but you stand for your truth because you know it's true. But you do it in a way that it's not harsh. I don't think a warrior needs to be harsh, and it doesn't need to be so straight cut. You can be still that. I feel like I can still be a Maru and still be true to me. I don't have to be so like I'm drilling it down, or I'm shouting it, or I'm like standing in that warrior pose. I feel like I can be it in my everyday life. It's just how I choose to voice it and charge like that voice and that energy in the emotion behind my tone. And I feel like it is there, and we can be that. And I feel like a lot of the teachers who have come through the Dharma Yoga teacher training are seeking that, actually, because they want to be true to themselves. And a lot of us are in that place, you know what, I want to be like your best self, or you're looking for something more, like we were speaking earlier. We want more. We know there is more to us. And that's where we're kind of going through this process of, can I show up for myself? Like, we're so easy to show up for everybody else. I'm happy to cheer Veer on, but then she flips the conversation and goes, what about you, Gagan? And then I'm like, ah. So it is that situation. Can we show up for ourselves? Can we say, you know, if this doesn't feel good, can you do it now? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to say that? Are you willing to take that step? And this is where I feel like we're so easy to, you know what, go to that demonstration, post about X, Y, and Z, but can we post it and do something cool out ourselves when we don't feel like we're being true to ourselves? If we don't agree with something, if we don't feel like we're living to the actions, like I had something recently where I was like, you know what, I don't feel good today. Do I distract myself, or do I sit down and look at my emotion? And it's like, I had to take that hard call. Yes, it's horrible. Yes, it doesn't make you feel good, but I'm going to take that call because I need to show up for me. And this is my decision, and I need to be there for myself. So we do a lot on the outside, and I really want to definitely shed light that we should do it more for ourselves.
Harpreet, do you know Meha?
No, I don't. It was nice to meet you.
That's fine.
So Mehar started the Nat Yoga teacher training together with me. We were in one group, right? So,
yeah, yes.
Mehar, how come in all those years we two are still here? What are we looking for?
I think it's a perpetual flow. Like we're not just one individual, you know. We are in a certain flow, and we're part of it. And we, as you were saying, you know, earlier, we are defensive, offensive, or we're in a kind of retreat, listening. And it's very interesting, you know, how you spoke about truth, because when I was, you know, discussing about this, you know, my challenges with technology, you know, making this work, and like a first time and all that. And actually, when we're having this conversation about the generations moving, I was really looking at the choice of our values. And for example, when you are in a school system, you know, like if I look into mainstream, it would say something like freedom, you know, like freedom as a value. And versus, you know, and in the mirror of that one, I see truth. But how many different interpretations there can be? You know, it's like, if you are true, if you feel the truth, like in Maru, if you're convinced this is your reality, you know, this is your truth, then you are free with it. You know, you are free to take the consequences. You're free to show up. To, you know, you are free. So I just really, I had this experience about kind of mirroring, you know, what can be put on a kind of faith pedestal, you know, in a certain context, or actually in a very mainstream context, and how one another can mirror. So while we are here, because I think we are truly seeking that. You know, finding those facets, because there's the same coin, and then you see two sides of it, and in the end, you know, the kind of the acceptance and the being in agreement with it is the way it all flows. So that
yeah,
sort of
me too.
integrity.
Very soon, when I learned about Nat Yoga, I recognized, okay, this will be lifelong learning. And I just agreed to it, and I just went for it, and I'm still going for it. And by teaching, I want to learn. I want to learn at home. I want to learn by going inside, and it's a big learning process, but not just by reading books, but by experience. And this is what I'm enjoying. And I think that's the main reason why I'm still on it, because of the experience. Because this gives me, it's like a confirmation of what I'm looking for, that I'm still on the right track.
I don't think it is like a, you can't really say, okay, I'm done 3 years learning and that's it. Because it's not like, it's like saying your life is, oh, I just boxed my life into 3 years and by the way, okay, I'll go and do whatever afterwards. Because it is like, we are seeking our truth, we're showing up, it's showing up for yourself every day, and there's so much to explore in terms of the rags. Rag Maru is just one of them. So, and we constantly go through these moods, so it isn't just one day you're here and one day you're next mood. You're in that flow and you're in those moments. So it is a challenge, and it's an experience of how to go in between the lines of these moves and know them and know yourself. So it is a lifelong learning. I would agree with that. Yes.
What I find really really interesting, also from my mind's perspective, to kind of entertain my mind, I guess, is the flow in between the rags. You know, how you see when you look into Maru, and then you see like the gate into to and or from Maj, for example. You know, there's also, I also wonder, you know, when you look at the albums of Yogi Ji, you know, in what order they come, and what rags show up next to what other rags. And then when you actually are in the mood, or really looking into what it's made of in your own life, but also, you know, through the sound, what's in it, and then you see these open doors to others. And for example, with relation to Marge, it's like, well, when if you're longing for something, then I guess the gate that Marge can open, you know, Maru will open a gate of getting out of that, you know, stepping out of the longing and into the on the spot, you know, into the action of whatever you need. Then you make it happen. Yes, I find this really fascinating. That flow, and also that you have like a raster or something, and then you're able to look at one level and look at it another level, and then there's a point where you just get lost in it because it's so much, it's so big, it's so beautiful, it's so
And
wow,
that's what you like, right?
and then you're like, okay, stop.
But
You're
I think
overthinking it.
we're when you ask why we're still here, or why you are both here, I think to myself, and this is kind of like what just Gagan just said, like, I never joined thinking that I'm gonna exit in 3 years. I joined because I think I'm gonna be here for the rest of my life.
That's cool.
Because don't tell the professor this, but I mean, I think as long as I have the opportunity to stay within the program, quote unquote, it's a lifestyle change. It's a perspective and a mindset shift that has lended itself to a healthier, more fulfilling and contemplative life. And I think that anything that I knew before this program, while it was still contemplative and very interesting, this is a more beautiful perspective, or a prism to see the life that I'm living through, especially where I am in this point in my life, right? And so even saying that it's a program is understating it. It's a lifestyle shift. It's a group of friendships with oneself and with so many different people throughout the world now, given the change in the digital world and COVID and whatnot. I think I'm not seeking followers, but I'm seeking these I didn't even realize that I had the opportunity to engage in such deep conversation and reflection with people who are already in my life, but also people who are introduced into my life. So I think that level of gratitude is always going to be there for the program.
Yeah, that's very special. Thank you for sharing to the two of you. And today in school, I was talking to a colleague, and I was saying she's our only music teacher, like the whole school. I think we are like 40 colleagues. We have at the moment only one music teacher. And I was telling her that it's so important to have music in school, because the way the kids are engaged in the music lessons is very different to the other lessons, because music always brings out emotions, right? And I don't know, the other lessons, I feel you have to learn and you have to be good at it and you have to know things. But with music it's different, because she was sharing that 7th graders, she asked them to listen to the music behind a movie scene. And then they had to comment on it, and they have to say if it fits to the scene and things like that. And I think there you just log in to your own world, and you ask the question within, and you find the answer within. And that's something special for me, because it connects you to yourself and your own inner world of emotions. And I think this is just a little example, but it shows that this connection to ourselves, this is what we need. Because I told her, I think it's important, because the moment we wake up with a feeling. We wake up with a mood. Of course, it will be not always Maru.
Yeah.
As Gagan said, there are other ones to explore. So, but it's something, and I think that's one reason why I'm still here after all those years, is because everything we do, everything we think, everything we experience is always linked to our emotions. And we cannot just say that, oh, learning a profession, that's more important than learning about your emotions. It's not like that, but the focus is somewhere else. But we are suffering because we put the focus on like going to school, having good marks, getting a good job later, and then people are not happy with the best job in the world. I mean, there are people that are happy. And what I also wanted to share is that for me, as I said in the beginning, it's very important to have something I can fight for. So when I have that in my job, then that's also good, right? So you can always do things with passion, but I think we all get confused at one point in our life, right? Like confused about our own mess going on inside. And then sometimes we need a helping hand, or we need a technique, or we need Gagan to just tell me like, oh, it's okay here. And then already my mind will calm down a little bit, because just of the tone of Gagan's voice, I can relax. Isn't that like interesting? How can you not want to learn that, how to speak, how Gagan speaks?
I feel like what you're sharing is really important, because it's emotions are driving us, but we always said looking towards the outside. And I know I had done that a lot. You know, I thought like I had to go to all these different leadership programs, all these speaking programs and trainings, but what it was is actually, if I just looked at my emotions, I would actually be that step ahead. And we don't look towards this as a training, as something important. And it's not something you can say as you wake up in the morning and ignore your feeling for the day. It's like, if I feel like this, then you got to do something. You can't just say, okay, I'm not going to feel you today, so over there, and I lock you in the closet.
You try that.
I'm sure we all tried that as well. But it is a part of us, and we have to acknowledge it. And either you ignore it and it will remain and it will just be a weight, or you take it and you use it as your leverage, and you use it as a key and a tool. And I think that's the most beautiful thing that we're all learning, that it has come as a beautiful tool for us. So I'm super excited for all the new students. And if you are interested, please do check out the Najaga Council or the Raj Academy website for the training that we're talking about for the last half an hour or so. Some people might be wondering, it is a Najaga teacher training program that we have.
Yeah, and we also have 2 other programs. You might also like to introduce them, Gagan, or 2 other opportunities where you can get to know us.
Yes, so November is, I was going to say, is it coming? Yeah, in about 2 weeks, we have some amazing events coming up in November. So the first one I want to share for everybody tuned in and who's going to watch this later. Please book your calendar for the 6th of November. It is Dukbanjan, our beautiful night of meditation and recharging ourselves and sending out that positive energy to everybody around us. We need it, especially in this time of COVID, and I feel like a lot of people can benefit from it. It is an in-person event, so it's our first in-person event after quite a while, and we're having a lot of the other teachers going to be coming and flying in, so please do join us. We're in London. It's going to be in West London on the 6th of November, a whole night, and you can find out this on the Raj Academy and maybe on the Najaga link tree. If you click in the bio, it will be there. The events are on it will take you to the Raj Academy Eventbrite page. So just check there, you can see our latest events, which takes me to our next event we have coming up later in November. It's on the 21st of November and on the 27th of November. So these 2 workshops, you can choose to come to both of them or one of them, and they're going to be with our Najaga teachers. So Veer's going to be there, myself, and another handful of teachers, but it is called Being in the Flow. And I've really been thinking about this title since we spoke about it, Veer, because I'm like, how can I be in the flow? Like, am I being in the flow now? I want to be in the flow. Like, I'm really like trying to dig deep, and I feel like this is really nice because we're not just putting out a workshop. We try to really embed it. You've got to experience it, and it takes you through that journey as we're putting it out. And so anybody who is wanting to explore this aspect, like what does this term mean for them, and how can they get into that flow? What does we break it through the stages? We can take you through into those stages during this workshop, and you'll be guided by the lovely Najaga teachers from their trainings, sharing some really good insights and tips. So do check that out. You can start to register. Both of the events are free, and you can check out the details and start to register your place on the Eventbrite page. So yes, exciting things happening in November. So yeah, please do share and check it out. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so towards the end, I wanted to ask a final question, and maybe one of you would like to answer. If you are a little bit insecure, and if you sometimes want to say no, but you don't find the courage within, and you just say yes, or the other way around, you want to say yes, but kind of you are not courageous enough to really bring that yes out. Do you have any tip for such a situation? Like, what would you tell that person? How can you find that courage in yourself to really stand up for yourself?
If you're feeling that it's not coming right there at the spot, on the spot, then what you can always do is kind of propose another time to meet, or have a follow-up, so you can pause.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not coming there at the spot, if you're not acting, if you're not in that expression at that moment, then there is probably something that you need to work out, or there is an open question, and it's a good question. So good questions are worth taking time to be contemplated and considered.
Okay, thank you.
I think I agree with Mihar, where like, depending on the situation where you feel compelled to say yes or no, is it based on the flow that you don't want to break, or is it again that consequence of saying yes or no, and really just having that default answer saying, hey, can we touch base in about 5 minutes, or maybe can we talk about this tomorrow? I just want to think about it a little bit more. Taking that power back, instead of feeling pressured to feel that you have to say yes or no, or give the person an immediate answer. And it happens to me in my daily work life, where my boss wants me to answer the question right off the bat because we only have an hour and a half to get the work done. But I've implemented that many a times, and it's worked really well. And it works really well because the other person cares about you. If they care about you genuinely, they'll say, yeah, definitely, let's touch base later today or tomorrow. And you'll see from their answer how much they're invested in your relationship with you. And that's very telling as well.
Okay, thank you, Gagan. Do you also have an answer, or difficult?
Something different, because I've been through this situation so many times, and I've gone to what Maren Harpreet is saying. But before, like, you're in those moments and you're just like, and I want to just say it straight away, but then you don't. And I've done it so many times where I feel like it doesn't make me feel good. It's not just because I answered in that way. It's because it wasn't the answer I wanted to give. It didn't fit with me. So now what I try to do is like, is my no serving me? And can I not feel guilty about it? Not feel like this is something wrong, that I have a right to say no? And kind of owning that truth within me. And I feel like the more I can get comfortable with that, this is right, this is what I stand for, this no is, I have a right to it, is allowed me to have that kind of courage to take it that step for myself. Yes. So I feel like it's getting comfortable with your no. Yeah.
For me, it's very interesting because I can already see that everybody is having a little different approach. And Gagan, I think I just do it the opposite round. I say no first, because the no is in me, what can I do? And then afterwards, I will think about if I like the consequences now and how I can deal with that. So it's really funny.
Well, what if you don't get the chance to change your answer then?
Then you have to live with the consequence.
There you go.
I mean, life goes on, be in the flow. It's so funny.
But the thing is, yeah, a lot of us would say yes as opposed to saying no. So yeah. That's interesting. But thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much for joining. And I hope to hear from all of you soon again. And thank you also for everybody who was trying to join and who were watching us and writing in the comments. Thank you, Niranjan. I also saw your post. I think we talked about that in the very beginning, that this word fight, or this word warrior, In the very beginning, sometimes it's a little bit like, oopala, this is something. And, but we know it's for the positive, right? Okay, so thank you very much and see you very soon again, okay? Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.